Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing tools for daily living, spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis. And supporting me on the pulpit today is my faithful assistant, Faith Rollins, who behind the scenes is me. So if you get an answer from me, it's not from me, it's from her. But she is the perfect mini-me and says everything I would normally say anyway. I swear this girl knows the inside of me like nobody I've ever met. Well, maybe my sister. That's about it. She was raised in my church. She was born and raised in my church. And so, I don't know. She just seems to read me like a book. So, if you get an answer, know that it's coming from Faith. All right. And the wise and powerful Oz, who is the first baby practitioner in my church. Gosh, we've been together 20 years.
Yeah.
More than 20 years. 1998, I think it was.
97, actually. 97.
Was it 97? Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's just it's been a ride, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oz is our practitioner of the day, and so you'll be seeing more of him. He'll be praying us in and praying us out, and he'll be doing our 1-minute miracle after the service. So now I have this wonderful, God has a wonderful team, and I have the honor and privilege of leading that team. So it's wonderful. So today's topic, we're going back to basics. For those of you who are unfamiliar with our philosophy, this is a great way for you to know what kind of what we teach. And I want to let you know, January, we always go back to basics because if you're new to it, it's a great way for you to understand what we teach. And for those of you who've been around veterans, as you might say, it's a good way to deepen into those principles. And in Tai Chi, the masters do the same 7 moves over and over and over again, and they deepen into it. So this is your opportunity to deepen into it if you've been around for a while. So today's going to be the thing itself, and then next week we're going to do the way it works, and then what it does and how to use it. Those are the 4 basics. Today is the thing itself, which is God. And so that's all I'm going to say about this. I also want to introduce you to the music that we do. We do a lot of music because it opens the heart so that it opens the mind. And our music is today is going to be from Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver, all except for the last song, which will be Karen Drucker. But we are doing 2 songs from Fairy Elaine Silver, Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. We do one in the service. Faith is going to do one, and there's 3 of them. And I'm going to show a video of the last one. So without further ado, let's see. Say hi if you're here. Hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. Let us know who's here. It's always nice to know who our audience is. And if you want to do a watch party, there's a watch party button. And feel free to click on that watch party and enjoy the service with your friends. You can comment back and forth. You won't be bothering anybody. And it's a great way for your friends to get to know us as well. So I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
And now, as I allow the previous week to unwind, the previous year to unroll and be in the past, I know that right here, right now, that same presence, that same life force that moves through all things is right here with me now and with each of you. For that presence that is God is everywhere at all times, here, now, in the past and in the future. It is all that is, all that can be, all that could ever be, and more that we can imagine. For it is all one, and we are one in this presence. And as I know this presence is here with us right now, I know the peace and the beauty and the great vitality of God flows through our service and through each and every one of us. And for that blessing of life and joy that it brings, I give great thanks. And I let it be so, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. All right, this next one, if you know the words, sing it loud and sing it proud. You can't bother anybody, right? You're at home. Here we go. This is Reverend Fairy Elaine's We Are All One.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
I guess I should be more clear because Fairy Elaine Silver is not singing on that. The choir is singing on that, the choir that we used to have. But that is her song. All right. So if you are here, please say hi, good morning, hello. If you're watching this in real time. If you like something that you hear, whether that be the music or the prayer or something I say, you can always hit the thumbs up button and let us know that you like it. If you find something that you just love out of something that you hear, you can always do the hearts. We love to get hearts. Send us love. And if something really inspires you, really strikes you as powerful, please use the wow button. We like to know where we hit on things. So for sure. All right. Let's see here. This is Faith singing this thing called life.
What is this thing called life? What is this thing called life? Reuniting with the source, conscious of the sacred course, miracles abounding every day. Trusting faith to pave the way. Trusting faith to pave the way. What is this thing called life? What progress in our consciousness, using thought to bring success, manifesting with the one. The gentle breeze of spirit has begun. The gentle breeze of spirit has begun. What is this thing called life? What is this thing called life? Dividing with intelligence, lessons come through every sense, radiating from one mind. Exalted joy and beauty now are mine. Exalted joy and beauty now are mine. What is this thing called life? What is this thing called life? What is this thing called life? What is this thing called life?
Thank you.
Thank you, Faith. That was beautiful. It's so funny. It wasn't lost on me that one of those is trust faith to lead the way. That's pretty good. All right. So if you're just tuning in and you weren't here in the very beginning, let me rerun for you real quickly. We are doing the Back to Basics series. We always do that in January because we offer classes usually. We're going to be offering something in February. I've got to figure out a way, Faith, you're going to have to help me set up a Venmo account. But we're going to be teaching classes both for new people coming in so that you can, and why we offer the basics program, is so that you can see what it is that we teach. What is our philosophy really about? And for those of you who have been in this philosophy for a long time, it's a great way to deepen into those principles. And we have an audit fee, so it's a lot less than actually taking the class. So anyway, so today we're going to be talking about the thing itself. The first 4 chapters of our textbook is the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. And today we're going to be talking about the thing itself, which is God. Okay. All right. That's it. Sermon over now. The thing itself. God is such an interesting topic. It's a lot bigger than we think. Our movement is called Centers for Spiritual Living, and it used to be religious science. And we spent so much time trying to define what we are by what we aren't. You know, we're not Christian Science. We are not Scientology, yada, yada, yada. It was like the Dairy Creamer version, of religious science. This is what we are. So we've changed our name to Centers for Spiritual Living because that really describes us more. The reason we were called religious science in the beginning was because our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, felt like there were spiritual laws in the universe that we could use that correlate to both religion and science. It was a correlation of religion and science, is how he said it, that forms the basis of what we teach. And so he called it religious science, although in the very beginning it was the Institute for Religious Science. And the idea was that whatever faith you were in, whatever religion you were practicing, you would come to the Institute, learn about these spiritual laws and how to use them, and then take it back to whatever faith you were in. Although it was very successful, his followers decided he needed a church. And so we ended up with churches instead of the Institute. But the Institute is part of our programs at our churches. And so they're very important to us. They teach our people, how to use those spiritual laws to affect change in their lives and how to make their lives better. And this thing called life is a big topic, as well as a big topic being God. What we teach is the science of mind. And we say this because quantum physics backs up what we say. It is actually a science. How to pray, what prayer does, what it is that moves through us to create a better life, how to change our consciousness, change our thoughts and our beliefs, and change our lives to be a better life. And we're part of the New Thought movement. For those of you who don't know what New Thought is about, New Thought is a conglomeration of several Unity School of Christianity, divine science, religious science. All of these form the basis of New Thought. And it's that a new thought can make a new circumstance. That's really why we call it that. But Ernest Holmes had this passion to discover and teach the shared principles underlying all the religions and the world's spiritual paths. And so he took all of the principles that were in all the major religions and all the major spiritual pathways. And he said, okay, if this is true in every one of these philosophies, then it must be true. And that's what we teach as truth. And so, he said, expressing through our teaching, the purpose of it is to reunite us in the transformational process and the healing powers within us and return us to a higher path of destiny. He reminded us that we needed to be open at the top, because if you get stuck in a way of thinking and you don't adapt to what's happening in the world currently, then it's no longer fresh. And so we remain open at the top, meaning we take in new information and we incorporate it into our lives, our teaching, our principles. So what I like to say is that it's, if you have a goal in mind, or if your intention is something, then you measure it against the principle that you live by. And that tells you whether that is the correct goal or the correct intention for you. Let's see. His works were from 1919 through 1960, but the principles he taught are even more powerful today than they were then. And that's why we're so passionate about our courses, where we get to do the deeper work, because it takes us to that deeper level. All right. So our version of God, first of all, is not a wise judge in the sky with a white beard, white flowing robes, and the like. We believe that was an image designed by a human being, where humans have made God in the image and likeness of ourselves, instead of recognizing that we are made in the image and likeness of God. Does that mean I have a white robe and beard? No. It means that I'm made of that same God stuff that we're all made of. And I will get to that in a minute. But what's really important to note in religious science is that we talk about I got messed up last time I did this too. Okay, I'll skip over that and we'll come back to it later, because the word will come to me. All right, so one of the things that we believe in is that there's a divine encoding within us. And that divine encoding is much the same as an acorn contains the cellular structure and the potential of the oak tree. And what we like to say is that, like an embryo, for example, could care less about the past, knows nothing about the future, has the encoding in it to create a human that grows automatically. We don't have to tell it what to do. We don't have to tell the acorn to become an oak tree. We don't have to tell the embryo to become a human doing. Notice I say doing and not being, because I believe that we are spiritual beings doing the doingness here on earth. And so instead of being human beings, we are human doings, or we are spiritual beings having a human experience, which makes us human doings. And there's a divine energy that created the world that's constantly waiting for recognition and an invitation to co-create with us. And so mental equivalent. That's the word. Our mental equivalent is how much we can accept. You know, my cup runneth over kind of thing. The cup can only contain so much, right? And so the process of understanding religious science is how to build a bigger cup, how to enlarge that cup so that it can contain more wellness, more love, more prosperity. And so that's the process we're going to be talking about the next 4 weeks. But even in the apparent absence, meaning if it appears that there's not enough love in the world, there is more than enough love in the world. We have to get our minds around that. Even though there is the appearance of lack of abundance, meaning there's poverty, or there's a apparent look of poverty, God only knows prosperity. Only prosperity is in the world, and there is never a lack of that. It is always there, always in absolute proportion to the world itself. It doesn't matter. And our job is to change our frequency to vibrate at the frequency of what God's experience is of love, of wellness, of prosperity. And even in the apparent absence of love, principle tells us that there is nothing but love. Even in the absence of peace, it says there is nothing but peace. Here's a quote. The original life is infinite. It is good. It is filled with peace. It is the essence of purity. It is the ultimate of intelligence. It is power. It is law. It is life. It is in us. In that inner sanctuary of our own nature, hidden perhaps from our objective gaze, nestles the seed, perfection. That's a quote from Dr. Ernest Holmes. And it's interesting. Have you ever pondered infinite? I mean, infinite is good. It's filled with peace, essence of purity, immensity of power. But think about infinite, meaning there is just no end to it. One of the things I like about our teaching symbol, which I'm going to show you in a minute, is the unbroken unity of life. And that is infinite. It goes around and around and around. It never ends. And so when I think about infinite, I think about how perfectly God provides for us, whether that be love or health or wellness or prosperity, because there's an unbroken unity. There's an unbroken infinite circle of life that flows through our life. And regardless of our story, the divine is embedded in us, hidden perhaps from our objective gaze. The lens with which we view ourselves needs a lot of work. In this broad earth of ours, amid the measureless grossness and slag, I just love that. This is Walt Whitman. You know, Ernest Holmes was really bad about quoting his, or, citing his references for things. So when he was talking about the seed of perfection, nestles the seed of perfection, one of our ministers, I'm trying to remember which one it was now, found out that it was Walt Whitman in Leaves of Grass. And he says, in this broad earth of ours, amid the measureless grossness and the slag, isn't that awful? What an awful picture. Enclosed and safe within its central hearth nestles the seed, perfection. So it's really good for us to remember that no matter what the circumstances look like, no matter what poverty appears in our life, no matter what hatred appears, and I say the word appear very purposely, appears in our life, no matter what the perception or the appearance of dis-ease appears in our life, nestled within is the seed of perfection. That's God within us. And God within us is absolute, infinite health and wellness. There is no dis-ease in God. There is only dis-ease in our perception of what's going on in our lives. You see, what's going on in our bodies. I'm not saying that we negate or are in denial of the physical reality. We're going to go through that in a little while about how all of this affects our body. But for right now, what we need to know is that God doesn't know anything about that dis-ease. God doesn't know anything about how our body is now reflecting some thought or belief that is causing a mental clog, so to speak, that is keeping us in a state of dis-ease or or causing us to be in a state of dis-ease. And remember, I'm not talking about disease. Disease is different. Dis-ease is a mental thing, that we are not at ease. And because we are not at ease, it is manifesting in our physical body as disease, you see? But we call it dis-ease for that very reason. Because God in us is more powerful than any appearance of dis-ease. Because God doesn't know anything about disease. And if we open ourselves to that, if we allow that to be our reality, then we have the health and wellness that God intended for our lives. Same thing with poverty. You see, poverty is a mental state. I know, what's his name, got in trouble for saying that politically. In a way, he's right, but not the way he meant it. What's really true is that poverty is a state of mind. It is. It doesn't mean that it doesn't outpicture in the physical world. It does outpicture in the physical world because we have a belief in it, because we allow it to be our reality instead of knowing that the reality of God within us is that perfect prosperity, is that vibration of all this, that vibration of more than enough to share and to spare, more than enough for us to not only survive, but thrive. And so we're going to focus on that. We're going to focus on that infinite prosperity that lives within us, that is God moving through us, living in our bodies, living in our soul, living in our spirit. And so the same thing with love. If we experience hate in the world, it's because we have some kind of negative charge that we're holding on to. And so when we begin to focus our attention on the peace of God in us, always, 100% of the time. Now, I'm not perfect. I will grant you. I struggle with it just like you do. But here's the thing. I strive for that. That is my goal, is to be 100% in that consciousness, in that vibration of love. And if we can focus our attention on that and keep our focus on that, hatred just sort of dissolves back into the nothingness from which it came. Again, back to our teaching symbol, and I'm going to go over that in a minute. But first, let me tell you about Genesis. The story in Genesis about Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac is a really interesting one from a metaphysical viewpoint. We don't do Bible literally. You know, people ask us, are you Christian? We say, well, we follow the teachings of Christ. But we do not believe that anyone died for our sins, because we do not believe that we are sinful by nature. We believe that sin is an archery term that says missing the mark. Do we miss the mark? All the time. We miss the mark. And we are punished not for our sins, but by our sins, because there are consequences for what we think. And if we are thinking hatred, we are punished by the consequences of seeing more hatred in our lives, becoming aware of more hatred in the world. And if we have a belief in poverty, we are punished by our consequences. I have believed in poverty, and it has been what I've given power to, so I experience more of it in my world. Health, disease, all that. It's the same thing. When we really get that God within us is more powerful than any appearance of anything like that, when we focus our attention on that and not the circumstances of this world, we create anew, hence new thought. So in Genesis, so first of all, in the Hebrew language, Abraham means father, Sarah means nobility, and Isaac means joy. So let's look at it metaphysically. When we marry our remembrance of our God nature, our human presence is noble. And we celebrate our personal nobility, we constantly give birth to joy. Okay. Sometimes talking just gets all of that stuff. I used to have a fungus in my lungs, and so I'm still clearing some of that out. I notice when I talk or when I sing, it comes up to be cleared, just like anything else comes up to be cleared. Have you ever noticed when you focus on love, anything unlike love comes up so you can clear it? Or if you focus on wellness, anything that is unlike Wellness comes up to be cleared. Poverty, prosperity, that's what happens. So in the story of Genesis, Abraham is called to sacrifice Isaac. And when we look at that metaphysically, what it is we're being called to sacrifice the label of joy. We have degrees, we have belongings, we have all these things that represent joy to us, but they're really ego-based things. They're not the experience of joy that we get when we focus our attention on God. And so in the metaphysical interpretation of what's going on here, God is calling us to sacrifice the labels of joy, our egocentric labels of joy, and saying, hold on, I want you to keep your joy, just sacrifice the ego. So we sacrifice on the altar, wanting to control the way things look. Now, I don't know how many of you realize this, but control is a mirage. Control is not something that's real. We think we have control, but we don't have control. I can't control what another person does. I can't control my environment. I have no control over COVID. I have no control over anything that is in this outer world. But we think we're in control, so we strive to control everything in our lives. And when we do that, we eliminate the ability to experience the joy of life and the joy of love and the joy of prosperity that was intended for us by God, through God, as God, you see? And so we sacrifice on the altar, wanting to control the way things look. And in so doing, we now experience the joy that was intended for us. There's a rhythm to life, and it's inescapable. When we are experiencing, everything is made with flow and ebb, right? I mean, you look at traffic, there's an ebb and a flow. You look at the waves of the ocean, there's an ebb and a flow. You look at our lives, and you really do see that there is an ebb and a flow. There's a rhythm to life. It's inescapable. And when we're experiencing the ebb of uncertainty, that which we need for the next evolution of expression on the horizon and coming to us, we've forgotten our divine identity. We may not see it because we're so fixated on the ebb and not the flow, that the flow of God is impeded by our consciousness, by our mental equivalent. Again, remember, that's the cup. How big is our cup? And if our cup is not big enough to experience the flow, then we need to increase the capacity of that cup to experience the flow of God within us. Sonia Coquette says, the universe has a pulse and rhythm of its own, and it wants to carry you with it. So if you dance with spirit, just remember to let it lead. I don't know about you, but I have a hard time letting anybody or anything lead me. It was really funny. Lynn, my husband, and I, many years ago, decided to take dance lessons. So we went to this ballroom dancing class. And, it wasn't about, learning the steps for me. It was about learning to let Lynn lead me, which I was not successful at. And even the dance instructor sometimes would take me out for a spin on the dance floor. And he'd say, would you just let me lead already? It's really hard for me to do that. And so I realized at that moment just how often I try to control God, how often I try to be the one leading. And so I've had to do the practice of letting God lead the way. Now, again, we're not talking about a God out here that is making decisions for us. There's no God that says, when you say, I want to be a writer, God doesn't come in and say, oh, no, you're going to be a hash waitress in Kansas. That's not going to happen. That isn't the way we believe God works. What we believe is that I set an intention for my life. I say, this is what I want to see. This is how I want to live. This is what will bring me joy. We set the intention, and then we let God lead the way. I sort of look at it like dough. Okay. If I make cookie dough, I have all the dough, I have all the ingredients and everything. My thought becomes the cookie cutter. But when I actually get to the dough, that's the stuff of God. Then I'm making the dough into something. But I just give form to that. I don't actually create the dough. I don't actually create anything. What I do is I give form to that which has already been created in my name, that which has always been there, that is waiting for me to recognize it, that is waiting for me to accept it and live it and be it and change my vibration so that I am one with it. Not that I was ever not one with it, but my perception has been that I wasn't one with it, and so I wasn't able to receive it, accept it. So when we're ready and when we are willing, that which comes through us, the genius inside of us, wants to be expressed and we are available, there's no stopping what will happen. There will be no stopping it. It just doesn't happen that way. So let's talk about power for a moment. Just for a moment, think about what power means. We have this misguided conception of what power is. We think that we are the power. We are not the power. I'm sorry. You know, the power is that which lives within us, the God within us that has all the power of the universe at its disposal, and we are free to use that power in whatever way possible. Now, here's the thing. We get caught up in this personal power thing. I was, the last time I did this sermon, I was looking at different ministers, friends of mine, for some inspiration, because I've been doing these same sermons for about 22 years now, twice a year. We do it in September when we're offering classes, and we do it in January when we're offering classes. We do this series. And so I've started feeling like it was a little stale for me, not for you perhaps, but for me. And so I started looking at some of my friends. So Roger Teal was talking about power, and he was saying, so he had this, and it's a joke. I'm going to tell you it's a joke right now. I want you to laugh. I may not be able to see that you're laughing, but please laugh. So he said, you know, this guy comes home and he wants to he wants his wife to know he's in control, that he's in power, that he has all the power. So he says to her, you're going to cook me dinner. And then after dinner, you are going to draw me a nice bath, and then you're going to bathe me. And he says, and you know who's going to dress me? And the wife says, you know, I really don't know. I'm thinking the funeral director. But that's really true, because we get caught up in that idea of what power is. And we want to express that personal power here on earth, and we want others to bow to it. And what's really true is the power comes from that infinite power of God that lives within us, and it is more powerful than anything on this earth. So we don't have to go around flaunting our power, let's put it that way. We don't have to do that, because God within us has all the power there is. And if we know that that's what we're tapping into, if we know that we can access it at any moment, at any time, and it is ours to access, then we have the freedom to be able to have power in this world. Not power over others, not power under others, but power equal with others. That's where we get caught up. We start thinking that we have more power than someone else, or we have less power than someone else, and we become a victim and we can't do da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, if you're caught in that realm, the thing to remember is that God has all the power you would ever need, and there's no need to flaunt it. It is there for us when we need it. So let's talk about our teaching symbol just for a moment, because I really want us to understand the process here. I love our teaching symbol. I think it's so beautiful. So you see that there is the unbroken unity of life, which is the circle that surrounds all of this. And it's split up into three parts. The top part is the conscious mind, the middle part is the subjective mind, and the bottom part is form. And so the process of creation for God is that God's conscious mind, the idea of us, was born in that top part. And the subjective material, which is God's matter, God's substance. Remember the cookie dough? We in our first foundational classes, we teach people to make things out of Play-Doh so that they get what that substance is like. And remember I said that quantum physics backs up what we teach. Well, quantum physics says there is an intelligence in the universe that knows how to create. And quantum physics also says that everything in the universe is made of the same stuff. So I'm going to do this so you can see my hands for a minute. So in quantum physics, everything is made of the exact same stuff, meaning the molecules are all the same. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about that bookshelf behind me, this table here, they're very, very solid. And that's because the molecules are bumping so fast together and they're bouncing off of each other so fast that it's thick, so to speak. And that's what creates something very, very solid. And then you take something that slows down a little bit, and that may be humans and animals and plants and those kinds of things that have a softness to them. It's because those molecules are bumping slower together. And then you take air or water or something ethereal like that, and you realize that the molecules are just barely flowing together. But the important thing to recognize is that everything is made of those same molecules. And in that middle portion there is the substance of God. Now, of course, quantum physics doesn't say that that intelligence is the divine intelligence of God. We say that. But when you think about it, it makes logical sense that if there is an intelligence in the universe that knows how to create, and everything is made of the same stuff, then the divine intelligence must know how to create through itself. So there is that stuff of God, that those molecules bumping up against each other that form a substance, and that is the substance of God. Then that bottom portion being formed, so when you think about it, God has an idea, puts it through the stuff of the universe, and out pops us, for example. And you notice that there's a V. That V signifies that there is a beginning, that creation flows down from conscious mind through that substance to form, and then flows back up again, returning back to the nothingness from which it came. Now that may sound awful, but that is the process of life. That is the process of creation. Whether we're talking about human beings or animals, or we're talking about plants. You know, when you plant a seed, that's that top portion, you have the idea, so you plant a seed, and in the middle is the soil, and you plant that seed in the soil, and out pops a flower. And at the end of the year, the end of the season, that flower goes dormant and returns back to the nothingness from whence it came. And so that's the process of creation. When we talk about God, we're talking about a conscious idea that has created us in its image and likeness, and that it lives through us. The heart that beats within me is God's heart. The life that lives me is God's life. The love that emanates through me comes down like a funnel through me and out through my heart to others. Not the love that we're used to with human love, but the love of God. I open myself as that channel through which God's love comes through and emanates from to others. That's what I think about love. When we think about prosperity, God's prosperity is everything in this world. It's only our constant focus, our obsession, if you will, with the ebb of that flow that keeps us from the flow of prosperity into our lives. And the way around that is to focus our attention on the flow of God, the flow of prosperity into our lives through God. I've already talked about dis-ease and how that works. So this week, really, the thing itself, God, living within us, this week, we're going to focus our attention there. We're going to put our focus on, no matter what everything looks like, all these election things, all this COVID stuff, all of that are human doing situations. And beyond and through and underneath all of those situations is the love and life and prosperity and beingness and wellness of God. And so we're going to focus our attention. We're going to take it off of the TV. We're going to take it off of all that stuff. And we're going to place our focus where it belongs, on that God within us. Will you help me this week? Will you do that with me? Let's have a prayer. I just move my awareness right now to that infinite power, that infinite presence, that infinite life of God. I move my awareness to that place within me that knows beyond human understanding that God is simply all there ever has been, all there ever will be, and all there is right here, right now. Only God. One power, one presence, one life, one love, one being. And so that is where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that infinite power, that infinite presence of God in and through me as me. I know the same truth to be so for God's team, which I have the honor and privilege of leading. Because I know that God is there within Faith, within Lynn, within Oz, within me. That we are God's team, performing the actions that facilitate God's message to the world. We open ourselves every Sunday as that open vessel through which God delivers its message, whether that be song or sermon or prayer. Because God is infinitely intimate in us, as us, the one team of God. And I know that same truth to be so for those who are watching in real time today and those who might be watching later. For there is no place where one leaves off and the other begins. There is only God. One power, one presence, one life, one love, one being. Mitakuye Oyasin. So I bless this coming week. I know that it is filled with the experience of God's power, being able to overcome anything that appears to be unlike that power and presence of God. I know that God's power in and through all circumstances reveals itself so clearly through us that we cannot deny its power in our life. I know this same truth to be so for every name that is in the ministry of prayer today, this week, because I do know that no matter what circumstance we are experiencing, no matter what the appearance is, God's power wins out. God's power overcomes any obstacle. For the truth of that circumstance is that God is underneath, in and through, moving up through us. And so I pull back the veil today, revealing that truth of God in that circumstance for every name that is in the ministry of prayer today. I know God's power, and I pull it through and I pull back the veil so that we see the buffet laid out before us. The buffet of God. Infinite power, infinite presence. Infinite power, infinite presence, infinite life. Infinite goodness. I name it good and very good, and I claim it in their names here and now. I give thanks that this is so, and to be of service in this way. My heart fills with gratitude as I just let this be. And so it is. Amen. Oh my, I get so high when I pray. Talk about elevating your consciousness. I just go to that place like, whoo. All right. This is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to express the gratitude for that which you have already received in physical form and that which you have created already in the mind of God, but hasn't necessarily manifested here on earth yet. I want to say a little bit of something about what you're contributing to, because our message we would like to get out into the world, and I mean literally the world. I want the world to hear the message of God. And so we are asking you to contribute to that vision, to know that we can inspire and uplift the world one person at a time. And so when you're contributing, that's what you're contributing to, is our message being broadcast to the world. So Faith has already put up our website here, oasiscsl.org. If you go to that page, in the middle of the page, you will see our offering affirmation. We like to bless the money before we give it, because we want that blessing to not only bless us, but we want it to bless anyone and everyone who touches that blessing or touches that contribution. From the bank tellers, of course, I don't know how much hand work is done. So the programmers, perhaps, I don't know, the bank managers, all of those people who are involved in what you've contributed, we're blessing them, you're blessing us, and you're blessing yourself by giving. So go to oasiscsl.org, whether you're looking at this in real time or you are watching later. You can do this with us. Say this offering affirmation. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Please press that button now. Contribute now. My goodness. There we go.
What is this joy that I feel? Spirit is helping me heal. Life is full of twists and turns. To the source I now return. What is this peace that I know? Spirit is helping me grow. Life is change, and change is life. I am walking in the light. When I feel joy, the world's more joyful. When I feel peace, the world's more free.
Oh, my goodness.
So, what is this loving presence in time?
Sorry, apparently I shared the wrong thing here. Sorry, guys. Let's try that over again. One of these days I'll get this for sure.
What is this joy that I feel? Spirit is helping me heal. Life is full of twists and turns. To the source I now return. What is this peace that I know? Spirit is helping me grow. Life is change, and change is life. I am walking in the light. When I feel joy, the world's more joyful. When I feel peace,
world's more peaceful. What is this loving presence? In time it all makes good sense. Life is full of ups and downs. In God's hands I can be found. When I feel joy, the world's more joyful. When I feel peace, the world's more peaceful. What is this joy that I feel? Spirit is helping me heal. Life is full of twists and turns. To the source I now return. Life is change, and change is life. I am walking in the light. Life is full of ups and downs. In God's hands I can be found. In God's hands I can be found. In God's hands I can be found.
Okay. Whew, goodness. So, and that was another one from Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. She wrote all of this stuff, by the way, while she was a practitioner student, and years later, finally got the license for a reverend. So it's hard for me to remember now because she's billed herself as Fairy Elaine Silver for a very long time, and finally she is Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. So anyway, we will be putting up her website in a minute for you to be able to purchase her songs. She has some lovely songs and a lot of chants that you can do. And they're all based on religious science. Well, most of them. Some of them are Beatle based. She's got a thing about the Beatles. But anyway, and she's got a metaphysical thing with the Beatles too. But anyway, so we have a ministry of prayer, as I've mentioned a couple of times here. And this ministry of prayer is a time for you to be able to let us know whatever condition you are experiencing and give us the opportunity to pray every day on those for a week, those prayer requests. So if you would like a prayer for whatever condition, you can either put it in the comments, or if you don't want it to be public, you can message one of us and we will make sure that it gets on the prayer list. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast, which we call our God Squad, that pray on those every day for a week. So take advantage of this loving service they provide. Also, I want to let you know that Oz, the Wise and Powerful Oz, is going to be available after the service for what we call our 1 minute miracle. It's not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can share with him whatever you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. And you reach out to him through video chat through Facebook. And if he doesn't answer right away, it means he's with someone else. So be patient and call back in a few more minutes, and he will definitely work with you. And our licensed practitioners are available by appointment for a fee for spiritual guidance. So you can reach out to them for message them and let them know that you would like some spiritual counseling, and they will spiritual guidance, and they will arrange a way for you to pay them for it, and arrange an appointment time, and they'll reach out to you through video chat. So if you would like to be on our God Squad, you don't have to be a licensed practitioner. You just have to be willing to commit and follow through on affirmative, positive prayer on those prayer requests every day for a week, every week. So if you would like to do that, type yes in the comment section, and Faith will add you to our God Squad Facebook group. page, which is private. No one can see it except for the God Squad. And if you would like to be part of our online community and would like to get information about our classes and everything else that we're offering before the world gets it, you can type more in that comment section, and Faith will add you to our Facebook. Boy, that's hard to say. Say that really fast a couple of times. Faith will add you to our public-facing Facebook page. And so you will get that information before anybody else does. We are going to be having classes starting the first week in February. We'll be offering it on, what did I decide? I think I decided Thursday nights. And so Thursday night, it is going to be from 6 o'clock Mountain Time. It lasts 3 hours for one night. We're going to figure out a way to do this by Vimeo. We're going to figure out a way to do Venmo. Thank you. We're going to figure out a way to do this by Venmo so that we can differentiate that from our contributions that come in through PayPal. So anyway, stay tuned for that. We're going to try and figure out a way that you can pay as you go for the first 5 because I know that's a chunk of money right now. Everybody's going through the COVID withdrawal of money. So we're going to try and figure out a way that you can pay each class ahead of time and be included in the class. So Faith, I'm going to rely on Faith to figure all of this out. Okay. And again, you can get to Fairy Elaine's music, Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's music, through her website. You do need to contact her by email because she no longer can update her website. And so you have to figure out where to send that money. And also Karen Drucker's music. All of this is in your comments. Faith has already posted it. Karen Drucker has gifted us with her entire collection, like 20 albums worth. And so we have all this music and we tithe to her. And so we would like you to also buy some music from her. You can buy it by the song. You can buy it by the album, CD, I guess they call it now. And then, she has songbooks and she even has some sign language ones that she's done to teach you how to do it in American Sign Language. So definitely purchase something for her of hers. We like to support those that support us. And speaking of which, I got this brand new bracelet from, okay, I'm going to show this first, from Brooks and Bailey. These are handmade mallas and bracelets that benefit the Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue. You can contact her at Brooks and Bailey 307 at gmail.com to get those. And they're really beautiful. And I just got a brand new one. So I wanted to show it to you. See I love the connector on this. And it's really a beautiful bracelet. And here's the note that she sent with it. Oh, I got to have glasses for this. I had to have Faith read it to me the other day. This is kyanite. And it is good for attunement and meditation, stimulates psychic abilities, and helps spiritual energy and manifest in thought. So it's perfect that this appeared now because we're talking about what that process of manifestation is. So this is my little manifestation bracelet. I haven't had it off except to take a bath or a shower since I got it. So take advantage of Brooks and Bailey. She has beautiful stuff. Like I said, it's both bracelets and mallas. And then Brooks Limited, Brooks Ltd. This is one of her jackets. I don't know if you can see, but it's like one size fits all, but it drapes just perfectly no matter what your body shape is. And it's a great way to update your wardrobe. I wear it with all of my stuff. She has one-of-a-kind items, and she's really awesome. So Faith has already put her information in there as well. I'd like to invite you to do that. And, of course, check out our website for current videos and videos of our services and past audio sermons that I was giving. I will let you know that that it has to be done through YouTube, and YouTube has cut us off on a couple of our videos because we were using someone else's music, and so there's a copyright claim. And so Faith and I are going to work to edit those videos to get those songs out of there so that we can repost it up to our website, because I have to post it on YouTube first and then to our website. But check out our website, www.oasiscsl.org, and you can learn about our practitioners and about our leadership team and everything you need to know about us. Okay, here we go with our last song of the day.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
As we come to the end of our service, I know that the one great being, the one source of all life, that is all life, and moves and manifests as us, each individually and as a whole, is right here, right now with us. And I know that this is the power that we use. It's infinite power, funneling through us, creating our lives, and allowing us to create our lives better. I know this is a good thing. And I know that I am blessed and you are blessed. And we are all blessed by this presence of God that is us. And I let these blessings flow forth into this week. And I'm grateful that it's so. And so it is.
And so it
It
is.
is.
Mhm. We love all of you. Thank you so much for being here. We know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning, and we were blessed to have you here with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stay safe. We love you. Wear a mask. We'll see you next Sunday where we talk about what it does. The thing itself and what it does. Bye for now. We love you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.